was nice to know that Triple H clearly was running SmackDown yesterday, and not
Yeah.
that BS that we got the Monday night after WrestleMania. Give me 1 second,
No,
pulling up my
actually, man,
results.
actually, we could just talk about that because that right there, I think, is more of the topic of what's really bothering a lot of people. We all know what happened with Monday. Well, we all know what happened with WrestleMania. We all know what happened with Monday, and that just really got a lot of people feeling in their feelings about the direction of what's going on. Everyone. Even though I picked him, I still kind of thought he would lose. And he didn't. He won. Roman won. Roman retained the championship. Cody didn't win. And then on Raw, Cody got basically, boy, just demolished by Brock Lesnar. And it was bad. And then it was bad in the sense of the way that uh you spent all this time building Cody up. And I get it. He came back within a year and he's won every match. This was his first loss. My whole thing about that was I felt like off top, you're like, I get you coming back and beating Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, but bruh, you shouldn't have beat Seth Rollins 3 times. You should have lost one of those matches. And he didn't lose one of those matches. And then he got injured, of course. So he missed time and then he comes back and he wrestled a few matches, but that time off really, kind of really just it kind of sidelined that momentum for him. So, but people still felt if he could come back in time and that he could possibly win and get an opportunity to face Roman at WrestleMania for one of the championships. That was always the thought that okay, here's how they break up the championships. We were talking
Right,
about it before we even got to the Royal Rumble, how we think it could be Cody or it could be Seth. We're like, man, right now, I think that's the perfect way. You make Roman fight both nights. That's what you do. That's a good way to set it up, man, because you give Cody his WWE championship match, and then you give Seth his Universal Championship opportunity, and we get the drip god going up against the head of the table, and we get the matchup that a lot of people have been wanting to see, but we didn't get that. So it's like,
right.
all right, we didn't get that. We didn't get Cody. We get to Raw. We don't get the rematch. Brock pretends like he wants to come out, which I ain't gonna lie, that had me more like, wow, you know what? I actually want to see this. This is
Right, right,
actually gonna
right.
happen. Let's go. But we should have all knew something different. Because when Brock Lesnar does stuff like this, he always turns on somebody, and we should have seen it coming. He took the first introduction. Cody went out for the last introduction, and as soon as that boy put them hands up, Brock walked up, twirling that boy around, and gave him 3 of the sweetest F5s that he could. And that just kind of just put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth, man.
I mean, so bro, your mic rubbing up against your shirt. So Nick Khan, they were talking to Nick. Nick said that the plans for WWE moving forward past Mania were months and months and months and months in advance. So let them tell it everything that's happening right now. I mean,
Right.
obviously, probably outside of Monday Night Raw, probably was already in the plans anyway. So Brock Lesnar versus Cody was already something that was in the plans anyway. Um, Cody now winning at Mania was already something in the plans anyway. Um, but when you just look at the terms of quality of show, it is absolutely insane within not even a week's time to see the quality difference between what we saw on Monday Night Raw and what we saw on Friday Night SmackDown. Like that shit was just insane. It's like watching the same exact movie with two different producers. It's like,
Yeah.
two different directors. It's like, wow, really? James Gunn did this. Really? Oh, Michael Bay did this. Like, what? It's like, what? Like, it's crazy
That's
because
bad. Which one of them is the bad guy? Because I actually like both directors. So which one of
well,
them is the bad director?
well,
But
it's
that's a
not even.
side.
It's
But
not,
I'm just
yeah,
messing with you though.
yeah, but I said it to say it's like it's crazy because Stevie Wonder could see that clearly two different people booked these shows, whether you had
Yeah.
the dirt sheets or not, and it was just like okay, it was like Raw kind of felt like really truly like a one off, like a one night stand, and then SmackDown just picked up back, like the relationship never had any problems to begin with.
Right,
So
like
I'm
they
like,
flashy lighted us. That's what it was. We got the flashy light. We got the we got what we got for Monday, and then all of a sudden Tuesday hit, and it was like, all right, man. WrestleMania happened, and then it's like, what happened for Raw? I don't know. So whatever happened happened. You don't even remember, but we remember. But that's the that's the thing though, man, is that you we all they got us. Like WWE got us. They got us, man. They Vince swerved everybody, man. He
Yeah,
got because everybody just knew Cody was winning. But again, um, the title reign is
yeah,
not based on the WWE championship. It's based
yep.
off the Universal Championship.
Mm-hmm.
He barely, I think he's just now had the WWE championship for about a year now. So it's like,
Right.
bro, your reign is not based on the one championship, it's based on the other one. You could have
Mm-hmm.
lost that WWE championship. That could have been the only loss you could have took. You could have retained against Seth Rollins, and then you and Seth could have finished something later on. That's fine. That's cool. So Cody got the belt he needed to have, and you could have, now that we know we got a draft coming, you could have did your draft. Cody's on Raw. You're on SmackDown. Whoop 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 whoop. Bam. We move forward. We move forward. All right.
Yeah.
But that's not where we're at. So now the
But
question is, who's going to beat Roman Reigns now?
but you know what? And this is like literally John Cena all over again because now you've booked Roman
I think this is
Reigns.
worse.
Well, yeah, but you had Super Cena. Now you got this guy who there's a spider right here. Hold on before he tries to bite me. All right, there you go.
You just, it'd be funny. He just swinging in the air.
Man, bruh. So so you got Roman
Thought you got
Reigns.
me, huh?
Right. Like I wake up and I'm all tore up in the morning. You got Roman Reigns who's basically, damn near unbeatable. It's literally
Man, he
like
hasn't
watching,
lost. That's
bro.
the
It's
thing.
like
He hasn't lost at all.
it's like watching a video game. I mean, hell, Hogan. I don't even know what this goddamn dominant, and it's kind of like you
Keep
talk about
talking.
the Bruno San Martinos, and you talk about the Hulk Hogan's, and you talk about the Flairs, and you talk about everybody else. You talk about the greats, and okay, I will say this. I will say Roman Reigns, and this is kind of where it really gets tricky, where you kind of muddy the waters.
Right.
Okay, who's gonna beat Roman? Don't know. It's almost like that Jay Cargill thing where it's kind of like, bro, you got this person that's been so dominant that nobody looks viable. And then the people that look viable, they lose because now you got the bloodline getting in the mix. So it's kind of like, all right, once they lose, like, well, damn, who's left now? With Roman, I will say this because when you talk about dominant champions, this is where I think Roman differs from a John Cena. This is where I think he differs from a Brock Lesnar. This is where I think he differs from a Hulk Hogan. Was that Roman Reigns has essentially elevated everybody he's beaten or been in a feud with. I say that to say this. Sami Zayn. Just last year, Sami Zayn was doing some bullshit at WrestleMania with Johnny Knoxville. Sami Zayn was irrelevant. And like as the fans, we all love Sami Zayn. We all respected Sami Zayn. But let's be real. Sami Zayn went into a period for about 2-3 years where he became a comedy gimmick. And then he wanted to do the whole bloodline thing. And then it's like, man, that thing took off like, it started off so crazy and this kind of came out of nowhere. You wanted to see Sammy win. Sammy became that person that, damn, he had to beat him. Everybody thought Montreal was his time, right? Okay, so you got that. You got,
That's
let's
it.
see.
That's
Let,
it. You ain't
no,
got
no.
nothing else.
Who? Jay
You ain't
Uso.
got no,
Jay
no Jay.
Uso. Jay
Okay, Jay.
Uso.
Okay, Jay to a degree, but
Jay and Jimmy as singles guys. Okay, because now, okay, let's think about this. Realistically, before you had this whole Roman Reigns bloodline thing, would you ever think that Jay would ever be considered as a main event guy, much less World Heavyweight Championship?
no, but there was a moment where Jay was only one wrestling because Jimmy wasn't there, and Jay was doing singles matches on his own before Roman came along and been in the picture. That's why the singles runs for Jay wasn't based on Roman Reigns. It was based on Jay getting an opportunity as a singles guy, holding his own and trying to get a shot for the Intercontinental Championship. it so happened to expedite that when Roman came back on the scene, because then you set up the bloodline. Yeah, so
Right,
I'll
right,
give you
right.
Sammy and I'll give you Sammy and Jay, but everybody else, man, fell at the wayside because certain people like oh well, I won't say that. You know what? Because I'll give Kevin Owens some credit because there was a moment where KO wasn't really doing too much serious, and him and Roman
Keep
Reigns
talking, bro.
rivalry
Keep
was
talking.
really pretty hot. The only bad part about it was uh KO didn't win. He didn't win none of the matches, but that did put KO on another level. So yeah, okay, there were a couple of people that Vince had to kind of give some respect to, but what happened with them after that? You got to ask that. You got to bring that up. What happened with some of these guys after those moments? And for the most part, Jay went back to tag team. He still, and then Sammy came along, but Sammy again, he was still a comedy act he until he decided to, hit Roman or well, the storyline was more focused on whether or not if he's really a part of the group. But he was always kind of like the comedy act. I mean, come on, man. He does a segment where he's, asking, telling Jay he ain't real feeling Uzi. I mean, you ain't feeling Uzi. I mean, come on, bro. You ain't Uzi, bro. Come on now. We all laughed at that, man. He was making these guys break character. So yeah, he was, bringing himself up. But and right now he's the tag team champion with Sammy. I mean, I'm sorry, he is Sammy. Sammy's the tag team champion with KO. And right now, yeah, you have them, and that's cool. But they're in the tag team division. They're not fighting Roman again for the championship anytime soon. At least not right now. Until they decide to move on with the belts and do what they need to do after the draft, and you put your proper championships back on all proper shows. But at least all of the other ones except for the WWE Championship. But I still feel like a lot of uh, what people were are upset about is, again, and it's mostly what we all been talking about, man. It's the interference. It's the amount of interference. It's one that I can respect when a heel guy can win a match on his own every now and then, and it's gotten to the point where Roman ain't even had that. I can't even remember the last time he actually had a match where he actually just won. And there was no, even if he cheated on his own to get the victory, nobody else helped him. Nobody else came out. Nobody else did anything to, what I'm saying, to keep from someone else winning. Or, what I'm saying, it was just him. I can't really remember the time of that. But I feel like we got played at WrestleMania. And then we saw what happened to Cody. And now
Yeah.
it raised the question, where's the do we still feel Cody's the guy? Are people giving up on Cody because of what happened? What's going to come of him and Brock Lesnar? Obviously, I believe Cody's going to challenge Brock.
Right, right,
And
right.
that Brock's going to do that. Brock's going to whoop his ass, especially now that he's no longer the happy cowboy Brock. I'm sorry, this was
Yeah.
the most entertaining Brock Lesnar I was feeling. Now we go back to evil mean Brock. All right, cool, but we still
Hmm.
got Roman Reigns being the big bad. So it's like, man, who's that? Who's going to be those guys? And right now, I'm looking at Seth. I'm looking at Bobby Lashley. I was
Right,
looking at
right.
Drew before. Drew is missing in action because of contract disputes and whatnot. And
Right,
we're
right,
gonna talk
right.
about that in a second. But I still feel like, hey man, we got to know what's the plan. Like, what's the plan moving forward? All right, you're gonna do a draft. You're gonna come up. I do not want, and I do not feel, and I'm going to say this. There's no way you're going to convince me Braun Breaker is going to get called up to beat Roman Reigns.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Oh.